Hello and welcome to another episode of Cut to Reveal, the podcast where we talk about the editing art form and all the hurdles of that career path. As always, I'm joined by Peter.
Hey, hello everyone.
And friend of the podcast, Erwann.
Bonjour tout le monde. It means hello everyone in French.
And today we've got a special edition. It's the Halloween edition, which is our first holiday special, so to speak. We've got a lot of great Halloween goodies. We're going to be having a Halloween edition of the game, which obviously Erwann will participate in. We're going to talk about horror movies, but also something new, or something not so new, but a new version of, is the editing chef. Peter, talk a little bit about that before we get into it.
Yeah, so I relaunched the program, and the editing chef has some new stuff in it. Basically, it was always focused on editing productivity, all the stuff that we can do to boost the efficiency and the effectiveness in the editing bay, right? But right now, the program is a little bit bigger. It has stuff like creative editing techniques videos. So basically, every other week, I will publish editing core video that addresses one of the techniques. For example, the first one that I also published publicly is about using morph cuts for narrative editing. And stuff like that. We also will have special events like roundtable discussions, downloadable practice footage that people will be even, like, to some extent, use for the reel as well. Live sessions, bonuses, all this stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about this after the game. So yeah, like let's do the Hollywood stuff, the Halloween. The Halloween, not the Hollywood.
Hollywood Halloween.
Hollywood Halloween.
I wish we could do some Hollywood stuff, but yeah, let's do some
that'll be another
Halloween
episode
stuff, first. So yeah, we'll get back to it, the editing chef a little bit later. And actually, Erwann, like, you're the guest in this episode for a good reason. You directed, written, and published and produced a few horror short films on your own, haven't you?
Very, very short films.
Micro short.
And micro short films under 4 to 5 minutes. A long time ago.
I mean, it doesn't change the fact. And these are good. These are really good. I watched them a few months ago.
You are my one and only fan.
Really?
And I'm glad for that.
I'm a fan.
Really?
I watched them.
Ricardo too. Then.
You know what? I don't know. Maybe you should give them the second life or something like that.
There's a plan far ahead if my editing career doesn't go the way I want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
That when I'm 40, and I won't say my age, but I'm nearly. I'm very near 40. I would make a feature film, like a long form narrative horror movie, which would be an independent movie. But that's the plan if nobody hires me anymore.
Look at that guy. This is his plan B. Can you believe it? This is your plan B. My goodness, it's a plan A for most people. So,
but it's probably going to be terrible. So I don't intend to have to do it.
I'll say that it probably won't be terrible, just based off of the films that I've already seen you cut and produce. So
thank you. Thanks a lot. I know that I have 2 backers that I can ask for a lot of money now.
Hey, Ricky, I think that we are too friendly for Erwann. So
I'll invest.
And by the way, once we transition to the game, I think that I'm in a big disadvantage because both Erwann and Ricky are big into horror films. And I'm I've seen some, and actually I like them more these days than I used to. But I haven't seen probably half of what you have. So,
we'll see. Anyway. I haven't seen a lot lately, at least.
Mm-hmm.
You, Erwann and Peter, are in Europe, and they don't do Halloween like they do in the States.
We don't have it in Poland. We do to some extent. I think the younger generation does celebrate it to some extent, probably not as much as you do in the US. Is it the reason why horror is a big genre in the US?
I don't know if that's it. I mean, I think that the reason that my guess that Halloween is so big in the States is because it's marketing. And just basically if you're in the States, it's all the holidays are hugely marketed. And you will know, if you go to the store, you'll know what time of year it is just based off of Halloween is coming soon or Christmas is coming soon, Thanksgiving, because of all the stuff within the stores that are themed that way. In regards to horror, I don't know that has an effect on it, other than maybe the Hollywood is obviously in the States, and they just want to churn out movies anyway, or there's just a bigger. That's a good question. I don't know, psychologically, or
maybe my question is even flawed. Like maybe it's even not correct. Maybe it's not like particularly bigger genre than in Europe. Like horror is a big genre overall, right? It's big in Asia. It's big in Europe. It's big overall. So maybe it's not even a good question.
But if I can jump in, I guess that in Poland and in France, like this American tradition was kind of forced onto our country, because I know that France was very much influenced culturally by the United States, especially through music and cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always have been aware of Halloween, even if I was young, but we didn't like celebrate it. And through the years, my parents sometimes threw parties with their friends, and they came up dressed, but it wasn't like when I see Americans like dressing up for Halloween, it's just crazy. It's insane how much money they put into their costumes, into dressing their homes. And we just don't have that. It's just like something that doesn't really, Halloween doesn't mean anything to us. It's just another way to celebrate and for the kids to get candies. And I guess to some extent it's the same in the US, but it's such a considerable phenomena in the US that it when I see like that through movies or even on TV, it boggles my mind how much like how crazy and how gorgeous some of the costume, and how much energy and passion people put into like trying to be original and like replicating costumes from movies or from TV shows. And it's great. So it's really impressive, but it doesn't like bear the same meaning or is the same as the same scale in France. And I guess it's kind of the same in Poland and all over Europe.
I haven't even been on any like dressing up party, Halloween style.
I may have been to one, and it's like, and it's not beautiful costumes that we have. We just do the bare minimum because we don't really give a fuck about it.
I don't know that there's much more to it other than, people love the fall holiday and, the fall season. And then, Halloween is just associated with that. It's like Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving, which is about, having a huge meal with your family and whatever. And then Halloween, those are the big holidays within autumn. And beyond, like for Halloween specifically, I mean, I don't know that it's much beyond the romanticism of like Halloween and dressing up and like it's very spooky and all those type of things and like the horror film vibe, but also, just getting candy. Like it's just I don't mean the meaning of, like with a lot of these things, the meaning of Halloween is nobody knows it.
It's kind of like, okay, it's a tradition by this point, right?
It's just to get candy, and that's awesome, and to have a good time and hijinks and whatever.
But getting back to what you were saying, it's also a moment in the year where companies like, for example, the famous Blumhouse productions, like get their horror movies out because they know that. I don't know if it's at the exact night of Halloween or it's for a week, but people are gonna go to movies to get scared. So they're gonna, and so these movies, even if there's not good, are gonna have like viewers coming in, an audience coming in, and so it's a great way for these sometimes little horror movies to do great business because it's just like people are in the spirit of getting spooked.
I don't have my hand so much on the pulse of that to know like most horror movies within the States is that the release date is on Halloween or around Halloween, because the fact is that horror is released in the States throughout the year. But I mean, there's significant that there are probably certain titles that are released, obviously like Halloween.
But at least more people will go see a horror movie.
That's true. No, you're right. Right. That would be like the appropriate time. Like even myself for October, I'm trying to watch a horror movie every day. Just to be like,
really?
I'd love to be able to do that.
Which is not working out as well as it should be. But also I stay up really late at night. So go figure. So anyway, I agree with you that there's definitely, like I said before, romanticism about it. Like, okay, this is the time that this is when people get scared. It's in October, and this is when the monster movies come out, or this is when we talk about slasher films and vampires and, those type of things.
Yeah.
And one final question about that subject, but do you feel like, because I have no idea, like a movie like Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, made it bigger, like made it more culturally important, or there's like it was already extremely big?
That's a great question. I don't know, because to be honest, Halloween came out before I was born?
78, I think.
Okay, so I would have been a year old. So I would have never known. Nothing to think of to the back.
Yeah, you didn't pay attention at the time.
No, I was thinking about other things.
But boobies and milk.
Yeah, that's right. Where my next meal was coming from. But even then, like, there's like, because you can see, it might have taken it up a notch, but Halloween was always big in the States, even despite the marketing of candy and other horror films and whatnot. So I don't know. That's a great question. It could have. It might have.
And maybe not. Maybe it's just me I don't have the word, but hoping that Halloween made such a mark that it just like blew everyone away and just made Halloween, that was that little thing, now became a huge thing thanks to one movie.
Well, let's just go with that. We'll just go with that. But even within that movie, you can see everybody celebrating Halloween a very specific way. There's tons of kids out trick-or-treating and people are going to Halloween parties and all that thing.
It's time for the game. It's time for the game. So
all right,
let's roll up our sleeves.
For those of the people who are listening that haven't heard of the game or know what the game is basically a game that we came up with that has no title because we're not that creative. And it's kind of like a trivia game where previously, and actually Erwann, we've actually done it with him before in the episode that he was on with Erwann and John. But it's kind of like a categories, if you know that game, or like a trivia. So we ask each other simple questions, which don't always have one answer. They might have one or two or three answers, and they're usually about TV shows or movies. And so it could be about a TV show, about a movie. It could be about people in the movie, the director, actors, whatever, anything. Or even, I think last time we played, we actually even had like something about technical aspects of editing. I may be making that up. Regardless, those are the rules.
I think you are, but yeah.
Yeah, every answer that you get right, you get 1 point. We were doing it where you get negative points, but we don't need to do that. So anyway.
So we have 12 questions altogether, 4 points maximum you can get. And by the way, I was just wanted to say that the game is called the game not because we're not creative. That's because we know that the most creative name is the one that you wouldn't suspect. So we decided, why call it something? Let's call a game the game, right? So that even though there are like millions of games in the world, this is the game, right? So
this is the one. This is the one game.
Yeah. And then really quick, we each have, so for single answer questions, we only have 10 seconds to answer. Multiple answered questions, you get 30 seconds to answer. So people, this is really high stakes. We're under a lot of pressure now, so just bear that in mind.
Which makes it difficult.
I'm not sure I have the right kind of questions.
The question giver is the person who keeps time.
Okay.
So, Ricky, the question to you.
I'm ready.
The question to you. It's a 10-second question. The question is, what is a horror film in which teleportation is important to the plot?
Teleportation. Oh my God. I have no idea. I can't think of anything. Teleportation. Tell me.
Fly?
Oh, okay. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, I wouldn't even thought of that.
Oh, yeah, because I don't see the fly as a teleportation thing, but it is.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's right. There's nothing wrong about that at all.
It's just because it's so, like, it's not the first movie that comes to mind, since it's like, he's just trying to figure out teleportation, but it's just two pods near one another. So you just think of him turning into a fly.
That's
at
right.
some point.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Nice, Peter. So it's my turn now, and I'm going to be asking Erwann.
Yeah,
exactly.
Some questions. All right. This is for a single answer.
Okay.
I got 10 seconds on the clock.
A lot of pressure on me.
I will start the timer after I ask the question. So, Erwann, name at least one horror musical.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I give it to him. Ding, 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 ding.
What would have been the other answers? Oh, I got
Sweeney
one.
Todd.
Sweeney Todd, exactly.
Anna
That's
and the
what I would
Apocalypse.
say.
What's the other one?
Anna and the Apocalypse.
Anna and
It's
the
very-
Apocalypse.
Haven't seen
There's
it.
that one.
It's very recent.
Yeah.
It's very recent.
There's another one, like a trauma one I was thinking of. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You got one. It works.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Awesome.
Erwann, first one on the board with a point.
A point for Erwann. Bravo.
That was an easy one. Like, it's a very well-known movie, even for if not you're not a horror fan film.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm the guest. You should be nice to me.
Why? Why is that the
Okay.
rule? Like,
So now it's for you, Peter.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I need to prepare. You have one answer to give me.
I'm ready.
Which Friday the 13th movie recreates the famous gun barrel shot from the James Bond movies?
The first one. No, to be honest, like Friday the 13th is still on the watch list, so I haven't even seen it. But
I don't even know what that is.
That's a cool question. That's a cool question.
Is it the third one? The 3D one?
So I know, like, I've seen it. I don't know if it's in 3D. It's Friday the 13th. Jason Leaves. And so it's kind of considered one of the best because it's kind of funny. And so there's that, you remember the gun barrel shot from the opening of almost all the James Bond movies. And in this one, it's just like, so he's dead at the beginning of the movie. And the guy, like goes to his grave and just like, it's nighttime and there's a thunderstorm. And so he takes some sort of sword or something like that and just plunging it into his torso, and there's lightning strikes, and so that touches the sword and he gets revived, and so he starts killing the two guys, and at some point you have a close up on the dead guy eye, and you see him like walking from the side into the middle of the screen with the machete, and he just throw it to the screen, and there's a lot of blood. So that was that.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That is a good one.
That's cool. Okay, so we'll go the other way around right now. So I'll ask a question to Erwann, right? Erwann to Ricky, and Ricky to me.
Let's do that.
So time for round 2. After the first one, Erwann is with 1 point, and the hosts are with 0 points.
This wasn't planned, people. This wasn't planned.
Yeah, it wasn't. Okay, Erwann, are you ready for your question?
Yes, I am.
So name 2 horror films starring Jim Cummings.
The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
One.
And a horror film. Like, would it be considered horror? I'm blanking. The title. What's the title?
It has Halloween in the name.
Oh yeah, Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills.
Halloween.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but you helped me out. I can't take credit for that.
It's
you
1.5. It's 1.5.
Because I was thinking of not movies he was acting in, but the movies he acted it and directed.
Yeah.
So and I was blanking on the titles of his movies.
Yeah.
Even though
I mean, in my opinion, you got it. We can like give you probably like 0.75.
Give me half a point. Point.
Okay, we got one. So 0.5, since you only get 1 point.
0.5.
So listeners, they're very
0.5.
generous with their guests, but that's what everybody should do. And The Wolf of Snow Hollow is a really, really good film. Like Jim Cummings is doing, like I found out about him, not through you, but like I learned your love and I said to myself, well, I really need to look after, like to look his movies up. And they're great because they're so different from what you're used to.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with your question to Ricky.
So it's I'm asking a question to Ricky?
Yeah, because we're reversing the order.
Okay. So Ricky.
I'm ready.
So same thing, one answer.
Okay.
Which movie is considered the very first slasher?
I would say Halloween. Friday the 13th? No. What's the very first slasher?
So the movie is considered the very first slasher would be Peeping Tom from 1960.
Wow.
It was
okay.
Because to most people, the very first slasher would be Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Psycho, yeah.
But Peeping Tom was released. It's another English movie. Was released 3 months before Psycho.
Really?
And it was such, let's say, such a surprise to the audience that Michael Powell, who was a very well respected director, had struggles like continuing his career after that because people, audiences, and critics felt the movie was depraved. The director is Michael Powell, who done The Red Shoes. And now he's considered like Peeping Tom is now considered one of the, like is in 27th position in the best movies of Britain.
Wow.
And it almost destroyed his career. But it's like the Halloween movie, John Carpenter's Halloween movie, is considered like the quintessential slasher because it has all the elements, but like historically, the very first slasher kind of got the formula would be Peeping Tom.
Okay.
I wanted everybody to be like smarter after that podcast.
I'm smarter now too.
Yeah, it's a great trivia.
I've heard that. I've heard of that movie before, but never thought of it as a slasher. But I've only heard the name. But another interesting thing about Halloween is that though Halloween is a slasher movie, there's no blood in that movie. The original, at least.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, no blood at all.
Not a trickle? Not even a trickle?
Not a trickle. Not in regards to like getting stabbed. There's no blood in that movie. And if you watch, there's a great series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us, and they talk about it. Yeah. And what's funny is that Halloween came out, John Carpenter, and then when they were making Friday the 13th, they're just like, let's just do Halloween, but make it with blood.
No, to be honest, I'm not surprised by it. And to be honest, like I think that very often blood actually makes it less scary. Like it's the thing that we do in editing as well, right? Sometimes you like postpone gratification. You don't want to have this like visual violence on the screen because the psychological violence is actually more powerful, right? So in Jaws, for example, the reason was probably like the budget and the shark wasn't really looking like a real shark, but still like they postponed it and like you can see shark for only like 3 times on the screen for 20 frames or something like that, because postponing it and actually makes it more scary, right? So it doesn't surprise me that I think that there are a lot of probably good horror films that don't have huge amounts of blood splashing around.
It's true. I feel like that there were, in regards to Halloween, that there probably was another reason that wasn't so, not altruistic, but profound, where it was just like if you want to make this movie, there can't be any blood in it. Like that was it. Rather than like, let's do it and make it not blood because it'll be more psychologically, deranged or, get the audience.
Huge amount of blood is more like, would make the audience more uneasy than scared. I've seen recently the movie from Brandon Cronenberg, what was called Possessor, and it's a very good movie, very artistic in the way he approaches horror. But it's really like the blood makes you really like I don't know how to describe it. It's not scary, but it puts you in a position that you really feel bad. It's because it's so cruel, so crude. That it's not like your usual horror movie that just want to scare you. It wants to make you feel bad, and that really works. So I understand that you don't need. I'm thinking of one of my latest favorite horror movies was the movie It Follows, and I don't think there's that much amount of blood in the movie either.
Get Out, for example, Jordan Peele's movie, right? Also, like you only have blood by the end of it. But the 2/3 of the film feel like horror as well, and you have no blood at all in that, right? So blood usually, for me, sometimes it even makes it more funny than scary. So
It's true.
Depending on how you use it. So, right, the example you gave, Erwann, is probably a little bit different, where it was like, it was provoking you to have this different approach to the scenes and like, the way you feel about what's going on, right? But if it's just used as like this thing that like, goes out of human lamps or then it's probably like more funny sometimes than scary.
Yeah, you take like Peter Jackson's Brain Dead and his other horror films, like he goes very far. Even the Coen brothers like use blood, and Quentin Tarantino, it makes like blood and especially a huge amount of blood, make it less realistic. And so it kind of takes you out. But if it's like what the director wants, he wants you to think that it's funny. It's like dark horror and like dark comedy within horror. And I think that's great. But I think that it's also like not using blood in horror movies when you really want to scare also stems back from censorship and like directors who grew up watching these movies, like it's kind of an homage to these movies. And they don't feel that, you don't need blood. It's not scary within itself.
Right.
It's the situation you put the character in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
Let's move on, guys.
So I'm asking you now. Am I asking you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man. I don't know. Do I give you one? All right. Can't tell if I should give you an easy one or should give you a hard one.
Oh, I like challenge, so go ahead.
All right. 30 seconds.
30 seconds on the clock. Got it.
Name 3 horror films by Benicio del Toro. No, not Benicio del Toro. Guillermo del Toro.
And it's Benicio, not Benedicio.
I'm just making up stuff, so you could just say anything now if you want, but you know what I mean.
Okay, so it's Nightmare Alley. It's this one sentence title. Come on.
Time is up.
I have this second title on my tongue, but I wouldn't have the third one. So I only know 2 horror films by Guillermo del Toro. So I would have 2 answers anyway. So it wouldn't be a full point anyway. But I have this Pan's Labyrinth, right? That's the second one that I had on my tongue.
I would consider that more of a horror film than Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
So Pan's Labyrinth would have been good. Chronos, the first film he did, which is about vampires is one, and Crimson Peak also would have been a good one.
Crimson Peak, okay.
Those aren't the only 3, but those are ones that come to the top of my head. But I mean, I can't even get the man's name right, so don't take my word for it.
And he just and I'm very, very big fan of Guillermo del Toro, and he just released on Netflix an anthology series, like with some great directors, and each one has his own like little movie, and it's supposed to be great, and I can't wait to watch it. I think it was released yesterday or something like that.
Really?
What's the name of it?
It's so in French it's Le Cabinet des Curiosités, Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I got it's actually the same name, the same title as a book of his. That
Cabinet of Curiosities,
and there's like many very not very famous, but famous horror movies, female and male directors, and who done like some great movies before.
I'll watch it. Really watch it. I need to catch up with my horror knowledge, so I'll watch it. Thank you. Okay, guys, we are after the first round. 2 rounds basically, but we're in the middle of the game, right? So I just want to show you what Soundly came up with. So Soundly made this website. Let me share my screen. So Soundly made this thing they call Spookly, which basically it plays sound effects from Soundly randomly, horror sound effects, right? So let's give it a go.
That's not scary.
That's not scary.
Oh, that is scary, depending on who's coming.
I mean, when you wake up, sometimes it is, but...
It's more like, I think it's scary when you're in a situation. You have to think about like, you're in a house and someone is looking for you within the house to kill you, and you're like...
Exactly. And you get the phone call.
I have a short movie exactly with that scene that you can see all over horror movies everywhere.
There you go.
Yeah, a friend, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. You see. So it is a horror sound effect. Okay, let's listen to the next one. Oh, they got him.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a good one.
that was a bunch of sound effects. That was like
Yeah.
mini movie right there.
Let's play another one. That's like the soundtrack for Diablo game or something like that. I like it.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it would work for it.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking of a haunted house.
Yeah.
You need the climax of the movie, and like the man or the woman like is walking through like the big hallway, and she suddenly hear like voices from all around,
yeah.
like lights coming through the big windows.
Yeah. I get it. That's nice, and you can see like the maybe the floor squeaking or something like that. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Unrelated, have you guys been to haunted houses? Like, do they have haunted houses around the time of Halloween by you guys?
I used to go to what we felt was a haunted house when I was younger, but it wasn't at all. It was in the middle of forest, and that's the best we could find. But I actually watched a very good movie very recently, like a couple of days ago, which is called Deadstream, which is a found footage movie.
Oh,
and it's a guy like streaming himself going to a haunted house, and it's very clever with its concepts. It's a mix between Evil Dead and Blair Witch,
right?
And it's really funny. And it's really well done, because most of the time in found footage, you don't understand why people are shooting. People are so afraid, and they're holding their cameras like that when you should be just running.
Yeah.
And like, it's very, very smart, because he has like, the camera is mounted on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he puts cameras like GoPros all over the house,
mm-hmm.
and he has a computer when he can see what the camera sees. So it's very, very like cleverly done, and it's a very small budget.
Yeah. I wanted to see that. That is not what I meant. I meant like, in the States, they're called haunted houses, and you pay to go into them, and it's like basically people just like jumping out at you.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was like going into
a real haunted house.
Okay.
Yeah, know what people feel like are haunted
so
houses.
I have been like on the like there are like, you know, fun centers basically where you have things like that. Yeah. So I have been to one or two. Yeah.
Okay.
And you have a lot of YouTubers who do that, who have like, I'm going to a haunted house, and it's just sound effects all over the place, and they're playing on the editing, and it's just like there's nothing, but just creating horror from absolutely nothing, just a sound, and how spooky stories, and in the end, how it was so scary. I heard voices, but nothing happened. Like you were the one just creating everything.
Yeah.
Like thank you, my editor.
Yeah, it's like those ghost chasing shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Okay, guys, I just wanted to show you this spooky website because I thought it's fun. And as you said, like sound effects in horrors, like are huge, right?
Oh, sound effects. We all know as editors that sound effects are really extremely important, and especially in genre movies when you need to. Especially, I find myself in action and in horror, which are very like to me cinematic, because these are genres when you don't have that much dialogue, when you're really in the genre, when you're doing action sequence and horror, it's much about like what you can create just through sound, because it's just like watching, because I've got several action movies, action shorts, and people are fighting. It's not that interesting until you start to put sound effects and sound effect and other sound effect, and that makes it exciting. It's exactly the same for horror. Like even little sound, mostly when I'm doing horror, I took everything out and I just like put tons of sound effect, even it's little thing, because it gives you that rich and layer like soundtrack.
Oh, okay, guys, it's time for my question to Ricky, and we'll go on the same route again, right? So, Ricky, are you ready?
I guess so. Let me have it.
Oh, okay. So do you want a difficult one or...
Give him a difficult one.
I haven't gotten... They've all been difficult so far. I haven't gotten 1 point on the board.
I know you haven't gotten any easy questions. I get it.
We're not really good at that game. Let's be honest.
Erwann's good at this game, but we are not good at this game.
I have 1 point.
You have 1.5 points.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
It's a difficult one, but let's try it anyway.
Okay.
So... in the early 1990s, there was a horror film that is very well known, that was the third horror film to get Big Five on Oscars, on Academy Awards, which basically is an Oscar for directing, producing, writing, and actors, both male and female.
I think I know.
Big Five. It's very well known. It's, as I said, I think the thing that you should hold on to is that it has very good lead female and lead male actor, right? So with that in mind, I think you could be able to.
You're giving away too much.
Yeah, you're giving away too much,
Yeah.
but I know what it is now.
Go ahead.
It's Silence of the Lambs.
Bravo. Yeah.
Everyone's so disappointed. They gave the tisk.
Point for Ricky. Bravo.
Yeah, that's
Okay, Ricky.
Finally.
finally. And I guess to most people, it's not even a horror movie.
It is a thriller. Yeah, you're right. It's like it's a thriller as well.
But a lot of people just see a thriller in it, and
There's horror.
but it
elements
is
to
extremely scary.
Yeah. Okay. So I finally got a point on the board. So I'm not totally useless at this game right now. So then my next question is to Erwann.
Yep.
All right. I'm looking for one answer. Well, it's not a multiple. It comes from a multiple choice. So it's 10 seconds on the board. Which of these three actors played the Wolfman? Adam Driver, George Clooney, Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus?
Yes.
Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Nicholson.
Oh yeah, Jack Nicholson.
Ricky, come
It's
on.
Jack Nicholson.
That is correct. You got it within the time of it, and I still don't know the names of actors and directors. If you people out there listening aren't, Jack Nicholson.
Nicholas also won for the Cuckoo's Nest. He also this was actually the second film that got the Big Five, by the way. Yeah,
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
One
Nest.
Flew
yeah.
over the Cuckoo's Nest. So that's the second one that got the Big Five.
Have you seen Jack Nicholson's speech when he won the Oscar for The Cuckoo's Nest?
I haven't.
No.
It was it was for the movie he did before. I think it was Chinatown.
Yeah.
And he
Chinatown.
was actually shooting. He was actually shooting Cuckoo's Nest at that time, so he couldn't be at the Oscars. But he shot something, and so you see him with all the cast, and very in character. And he's trying to speak, and nobody can hear him. And so he just punches the glass, and there's actually a glass in front of him that breaks down. And he said, "Oh, I just wanted to thank everyone." And so Danny DeVito, who's in character, also, he's just like looking at him. It's very, very funny. It's one of the best speech because it's everybody's in character.
I'll have to look it up.
That's a homework for me. Thank you.
We'll post the link. It's probably online somewhere. We can post
Yeah,
the
I've
link
seen it.
online.
I've discovered it very recently on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
It's the pressure, the 10 seconds of pressure. The pressure of the game.
it was
people.
actually Jack Nicholson, and the movie was called The Wolfman, right?
Yes.
And it was a half decent movie, if I remember.
Okay.
You know who his...
Erwann, it's time for your question.
Name 4 found footage horror movies.
4 of them.
Yeah, 4. You have 30 seconds.
Blair Witch Project, which is kind of found footage, but not really.
No, it is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But I mean, it's not really. So I wonder, like, how should I treat it? But anyway, I will not name 4. Blair Witch Project is the one that comes to my
Okay, let's do 3. Let's do 3.
This comes to my head.
Ricardo, you can help out.
Cloverfield?
Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen this one as well. Why haven't I thought about it? So yeah, these are 2 found footage horror films that I've seen. I haven't seen more, I think.
Okay, I think the 30 seconds have passed now.
Yeah.
What would be the third one?
So Blair Witch was actually
that was the first.
a real found footage movie.
Yeah.
Like you
I
said it
always
wasn't,
thought
but it is.
it was like produced this way.
Oh, yeah, it was produced that way, but it falls into the genre of found footage.
The genre is like, it's not actually found. It's like the movies are just shot that way.
Okay.
And these are called found footage. So Blair Witch is the
I mean, I know it was, but I thought you were asking about like maybe like, finding footage that someone shot a real situation where they got killed.
No. You understood the question, Ricardo, right?
What's that?
You understood the question when I asked.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So Peter, you just like you didn't get the question.
It's okay. I think I got.
You have 1 point. You have 1 point for Blair Witch.
It's 1/3 of the point. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll give you 0.3.
0.33.
So you also had, so it was an easy question because I just like a minute ago I was talking about found footage movies. We talked about Deadstream,
which I haven't seen, so that's why I haven't recollected it.
There was another one we just talked about, but there was also Cloverfield.
Cloverfield.
Wreck,
I've seen Cloverfield.
One Cut of the Dead, even if it's not all found footage. One Cut of the Dead.
Wreck and
Paranormal Activity also.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I forgot about those movies. Wreck are both, the first and the second Wreck are both found footage. Those are both real good.
Yeah. The second one not so much in my. Yeah, the first one was really good. Second one I've seen in cinemas and it was not that good. And about Paranormal Activity, that was the very first movie that was produced by Jason Blum from Blumhouse Production. And I think it's the most I don't know the word in English, but like from how much money they put in, I think it was $300,000, and they got like more than $300 million, even maybe $600 million coming back to them.
Yeah.
So it was the most profitable movie of all time, like that.
Yeah. There was something else I just read about. Was it Halloween? But like horror movies. Maybe I may be totally crazy saying this, or maybe wrong. If I am wrong, let us know in the comments or send us a message. But that mostly horror movies, they always have these small budgets, and then they end up like the return if they hit, like doubles, triples, like quadruples the amount of money.
Oh yeah, this is actually Jason Blum old way of doing things most of the time. Like I was reading an interview of him, and he puts $4 million into the movie. But the actors is paying, don't have their own trailers. They're sleeping like everybody else. And so he knows that he's gonna like sell the movie for maybe 2 to 4 million domestically, and internationally for another 4 million. So he knows that he's gonna make money. And then if the movie is bad, some people are still gonna go see it. Some horror fans are still gonna go see it because people like even bad horror movies. And if it's good, like it's gonna be like Paranormal Activity, for example. Yeah. So it's all like way of doing things. And it was really successful because now you see it's saying a Blumhouse movie. Like they're saying like Blumhouse is, I don't know, Smile. I don't know if it was the one who produced Smile, but anyway.
Time to go the other way around. So Erwann, it's a question to you. Are you ready? I will test your actor's name knowledge. Okay.
Hopefully I'm better than Ricardo for this.
And also character's name. So it will be. Let's give it a go. It's actually.
Let's just say that in real life, I have real trouble with remembering names. I'm better with movies.
Anyway, let's do it. Clarice Starling was played by
Jodie Foster
and
Julianne Moore.
Bravo!
Ding 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 ding!
Look at this guy.
So easy.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to be like, have you seen the TV show Hannibal?
Yeah.
With
TV show. Oh, TV show. Okay, I haven't.
Because at the very beginning of the TV show, like the main actor, who's I don't recall his name, but it's the same character from the movie from Michael Mann's Manhunter.
Yeah.
Who's adapting.
Oh, right.
And there's that. So he's doing a presentation at Quantico at the FBI, and there's a young girl who comes to him. And she's a redhead, and she's just like asking what question, and then she leaves. And it was implied that it was Clarice Starling that was supposed to become the main actress in season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But it was cancelled.
Oh,
so.
Interesting. Also, you want to hear something funny is that Jack Nicklaus is not an actor. He is a golf player. So
okay, at least he exists.
Maybe he did play a wolfman at some point. We don't know.
And the film that Jack Nicholson was a werewolf in was actually called Wolf. And he played opposite of Michelle Pfeiffer.
I thought it was The Wolfman, but The Wolfman is the movie with Benicio del Toro.
Right. And Benicio del Toro did not direct any films. Guillermo del Toro did.
and they're not related either.
They're not.
Yeah, it's time for your question to Ricky.
Okay, Ricky, this is a very difficult one.
Peeping Tom. Is it Peeping Tom?
No, it's not. Well, I have an easier one and a very difficult one.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter because I have 1 point on the board right now. We're just here to have a good time. I'm just here to have a good time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So because I've written in a way, but I'm not sure it's the clearest way.
Okay.
The question. So I may help you further down the line. But what's the link between Psycho, Halloween, and Nightcrawler?
The link, like there's an element in the film that is similar, that is in every
It's
one of
about
them?
people. It's about actors. It's a link between an actor from each movie. You can start now and you have 30 seconds.
Wow.
There's an actor that's in all of those movies? That's in all of those?
There's a link between each actor between one actor to the next.
What were the movies again? Sorry, Psycho.
Yeah,
Nightcrawler.
Psycho, Halloween, and Nightcrawler. You can replace Nightcrawler with Brokeback Mountain.
I mean, Gyllenhaal? There's a Gyllenhaal in every one of those movies?
No.
Or Brokeback Mountain. Somebody dies. They die at the end?
It's just the actors. There's a link between the actors. Let's say there's a family link between the actors.
I was gonna. My time is probably up, but I would say Jake Gyllenhaal. So there's Jodie Foster has a family link that her.
Okay, so this was kind of impossible, but it's just like I wanted to expand your knowledge.
Yeah,
please
learn us. Learn us.
Okay, so Janet Leigh, who plays in Psycho, in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, was married to Tony Curtis, who was another very famous actor. And what's the name of their daughter?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Exactly, Jamie Lee Curtis. And Jamie Lee Curtis is the main actress from Halloween.
Right.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is actually, and that's something that I found out very recently, is Jake Gyllenhaal's godmother.
Oh, that's too deep of a cut. I would never have expected that.
Wow.
That is a good one.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Erwann, we should have you on all the time because even if we don't win, we'll at least learn something.
That's true, and that's the point.
And I read, while I was like, because I knew that, but I wanted to check that if it was not just my memory that was a bit fuzzy. And what is funny is that Jamie Lee Curtis is actually one of the best friends of Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And she couldn't watch any of the Aliens movie because she was too scared.
Well, that's funny.
Okay, I think it's time for the last question, Ricky, right?
Yeah, this is the last question. So, Peter, name 3 movies about serial killers. Or with serial killers.
Yeah, I mean, The Wolf of Snow Hollow would be the one. Saw would be another. And Hannibal would be another.
Give the man the point.
There we go. It was. So thank you for your generosity, okay, Ricardo? Thank you.
I do have to say that Piotr just spoiled one of his favorite movies, but
yes,
sorry?
Wolf of Snow Hollow. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Okay,
Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Although I have to say that like I like all of Jim Cummings' films, all of them. I love them. I support what he does like 100%. But still, like The Wolf of Snow Hollow is on the 3rd place for me. Like the Thunder Road is number 1, and the Beta Test is like almost number 1, but it's number 2. But I think that what he's working on right now, which I know that he's trying to get his film made. Maybe he's going.
It's a horror movie he's preparing,
sorry?
Right? Is it a horror movie?
Yeah, it's gonna be a horror movie, a Victorian horror movie.
That's right.
So I think that this one is gonna be really something. Just judging from how Jim sometimes writes about it on Twitter, I think that like it has elements to it that he's like afraid that will not make this movie possible to make, for other people to produce. So
yeah,
I
mean, he probably did something sketchy in it anyway.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that should be interesting. All right, so that is the last round, last question. So the scores stand as such.
let's just say that Erwann won. Okay, everyone knows it already. Erwann won,
and Peter came in second.
Yeah, and
with 1.333 points.
I mean, I could say something that we let Erwann win, but it would be an obvious lie, and everyone would know it. So I will not do it.
And with that being said, what was the simpler question that you were going to ask me?
Okay, so I'm asking that to both of you. So I'm very big on for some reason on Jason from the Friday the 13th, even if I don't think I've seen any of the movie like in their totality, because I think they're just like mostly boring.
That's funny.
But which very famous director, extremely famous director, played a little part in Jason 10, which is Jason in Space?
Oh, and that's a movie I only saw once. James Gunn? I don't know.
No, it was before James Gunn was famous.
So he was already famous and then in Jason in Space?
Yeah, the director was already very famous, and it's more a cameo, like a glorified cameo than anything else. I see you, Ricardo.
Oh, I see. I can see. I know what it is. I would never have guessed that.
What is it?
So,
David Cronenberg.
Who it is, Ricardo?
David Cronenberg.
Yeah, David Cronenberg. All right. So that was my easy question, and I have no more.
Well, that's it for the game this time around. Hopefully, maybe the next time we have the game, we'll have Erwann on to trounce us in points, and then but also feed our knowledge and learn us some things, teach us the ways of obscure familial connections, like between Psycho.
I love finding that stuff out. Like for Jack Nicholson, did you know that Jack Nicholson only found out who his real mother was because of an interview with a journalist? Like, and he was very late. He was, I don't really recall, but 30 or 40, when a journalist found out, like doing research on Jack Nicholson, that his actual mother, like his grandmother, always played the part of being his mother, and he found out that his aunt was actually his mother, and that's a journalist who told him about it.
Ooh,
wow,
that's weird.
So family trivia is my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm still like collecting jaw from the floor.
Yeah, like his reaction, like would have been extreme.
Yeah.
He probably punched some more glass and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter, do you want to talk about the editing chef now?
You know that editing chef was always strong on the productivity. Basically, I do like the videos, the library of videos is set up the way that it goes through the whole workflow, but the workflow, in my opinion, is like everything you do from the moment you get the footage, or even earlier to the moment you deliver the cut. So we talk about things like a prep work, like setting up your environment, time blocking, and also this technical stuff, like what you do on the timeline, how you label clips, how you organize the timelines, everything like that, right? And then even things like, collecting your inspirations for the future, client feedback, all this stuff. But with this recent relaunch, I'm adding more to it. So basically, it's no longer just about this productivity workflow things. It's also about editing techniques. So things like, for example, split screen editing, right? When you take two cuts, two takes, and you merge them together to deliver a performance that wasn't really there. About using morph cuts, J cuts, smash cuts, everything like that. So I will be publishing like every 2 weeks, I will be publishing a new video that will be very concise, very short, addressing one concept of these like creative editing techniques. So that's one thing that is added to the program. Another one is community that is like hosted on its own platform. So we're not on social media. We're on like a very dedicated platform for communities where we can share like experiences, ask questions, things like that. And we have always had some live sessions in the Editing Chef program, but this time we'll have even more. Some of them will be topic-based, and some of them will be actually more like special events. For example, on December 8th, we'll have a roundtable discussion with top-tier editors. So we'll have people we've had on the podcast, actually. So Simon Smith, Elizabeth Ronsdottir, Washington Domansky, right? Mike Hugo, Audrey Simonod. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her French name. Simonod, right? And Jacob Brica, the author of the book Documentary Editing. So all of them discussing, answering, like it will be like 3 parts structure. The first one, me asking all of them a question. Then we'll have a section where they ask themselves questions, right? And in the third part, people from the Editing Chef will have a chance to ask questions to those editors, right? So that's something that I'm very excited about. I can't wait to host it. And the last thing that I want to mention that is also in the program is practice footage. And first, it will be added to Editing Quirks videos for these like creative editing techniques videos, so that you can practice what I'm talking about on actual footage. But at the same time, we'll also have like a full short film called Ashes, which is actually a horror short film that people will be able to download and edit on their own, and even use in their reel.
That's very exciting. Like all the new stuff that you implemented within the course, and like the people you managed to get to come to the roundtable. And I mean, it's very excited, and to see how the course is growing and becoming like fuller and fuller.
Yeah. Thank you. And we have like 2 price tiers. So one is a little bit more expensive. It includes all that I was talking about, and the other one is just about live sessions, special events like directors' discussions, right? Like roundtable discussions. And about community, right? So, if you're interested in joining a community that, is focused on growing as an editor, then I encourage you to check it out. There will be a link in the description, of course. And that's it. I hope to see you inside. Yeah.
Cool. All very interesting stuff. So that's how I ended up meeting Peter, is through the Editing Chef. So making it more robust, as he said, it's really exciting, and to like grow that community within itself is also really exciting.
And organizing, like, it's one of the latest thing I learned, and I'm still learning that, like organizing your footage, everything you need to edit is just like so important to not waste time further down the line.
Yeah.
And it's something that when you start editing, you just take whatever and you put it where it is, and you just start, because you're just looking for like cutting. Okay, how does it work? How does cutting work? Why would going from that shot to that shot works? But like when you're getting like better and better at it, you find that, I'm losing a lot of time like looking through to the footage, looking for this or that, and you start thinking, okay, what are the ways? And it's still like, and I still find myself nowadays, and I'm not like, I'm very interested in that course that I couldn't take so far because I just don't have the time. But like, I would be very interested to join and to see how you do it, because that's something that I've always struggled with. Like my mind is going in every direction all the time, and I have a hard time like focusing on getting things ready. So now I'm forcing myself, but I still haven't reached the level that you probably like both have, especially Peter.
To be clear, I think that project organization is still, it's something that you keep learning. Like even for me, I think like, if I had a project that is like, I don't know, that has like 100 hours of raw footage, right? Then I would probably approach it differently than what I do for regular projects, right? So it always depends on the workflow. What I teach in the course are like foundations, like practices, what you should do as like good practice when organizing footage, right? But like this stuff, like that's why I always say that like editing is the art form that you can learn how to do in 2 days, but you need a lifetime to master it, right? Because each project teaches you something new, requires a different approach. So, for example, for me, like when I do select reels, that's something that I talk about in the course as well, right? I usually do them very rarely, like reuse clips in multiple select reels. But when the project gets bigger and you have like multiple storylines, so for a featured documentary, I would definitely do it. I would have like select reels that are like a storyline specific, right? And then you have to sometimes duplicate them to select reels that are for a given character, for example, right? Or for lines that are, I don't know, like emotionally important or things like that. So I think the foundations are most important, but then I always encourage people to not take anything that they learn as granted, because a project will dictate how you actually should actually, do something a little bit differently, right? And, once you're a bigger editor, which I'm not at this point yet, you have your assistants who do a lot of this stuff for you. But even then, you have to know how to do it yourself, because you're the one to tell them how they should organize the footage.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to be able to tell them that's how I want.
You need to know how you like to work
up.
and how you get to the best result fast, right?
But great editors also like to look at how their assistants work, and sometimes they learn from their assistants.
Sure.
Like, how you do it that way. I never thought about it that way. And they can use it in their future projects.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a great editor never assumes that he cannot learn from an assistant.
Yeah, to me, you have to be in that, when you're editing and like through life, you have to be able to say to yourself, like, I can learn from anyone, even someone that's younger than me. Like age doesn't matter. It's just like people have ideas that you would never think of, and people had experiences that you didn't have. And you can take, like, I'm never thinking, oh, I'm experienced, so that means that I'm a better editor than this guy or that girl. No, it's just like I have more experience, but they may come with like new ideas, new stuff that like will change the way I see editing. Yeah. Anyway, it's just a segue, but yeah.
That's true.
Okay, guys, let's do the final section, which is about horror movies with interesting ending or editing, because I thought you're doing the ones with interesting ending.
Or both.
The most recent one that I saw that stuck out to me, which may not be groundbreaking, but I don't know that you guys, maybe you've seen it, Erwann. I don't know about you, Peter. But it was a film called X. Just came out within the past 2 or 3 years. Like X, like the letter X.
Okay. The letter X.
Oh, yeah, no, I've seen this one. Yeah, I've definitely seen this one.
It's kind of an homage. It's a little bit homage-y. I don't want to give too much away in case, I mean, we've already given other spoilers away on this podcast, but regardless, well, these are spoilers because of the editing and stuff, but there are very interesting transitions between scenes, and then also some little bit more the way that they had done some montages. We'll call it a montage, but it's not really a montage. But in regards to the transitions, usually it's like the transition will be either, if you're thinking about Star Wars or even within that film X, there's a transition of like a wipe or something like a dissolve. But within this, they actually did like flash frames of the next scene.
There's a name for it. I think there's a name for it, but I've seen an editor on Twitter use a name for that. But as you say, it's flash frame between. It's like they intercut for a second or two.
Yeah.
Like the latest shot from the latest scene and the first shot from the next scene, and they just like intercut for a few seconds,
right? And
then they go to the next scene.
Yeah. So I thought that stood out to me because I hadn't seen that before, honestly, in other films, and that was interesting. And then there's a scene where we'll say the bad guy, the bad lady, the bad guy is kind of prepping herself, and they're shooting it at the same time as. So the premise of X is that it's this group of filmmakers who are shooting an adult film at a farmhouse that they're renting from these crazy farmers. And there's a scene where they're prepping and shooting the scene, and then it's like intermingled, but it's like done with like how would you describe it, Peter, Erwann? But it's like split screens, and there's a lot of movement going in between like the montage. So it's not like a montage of like them getting ready and then a montage of a woman getting ready, but it's more very artfully done, which I hadn't seen in a while within at least horror films.
I'm not sure I completely recall that scene, but that I would call a montage anyway. Like if there's a passage of time,
Yeah.
But I recall that the editing was really super nice. And just going back to the transition we were talking about, sorry, but I think it's also because the movie is supposed to happen in the 70s, I think. And it was like in the 70s, they were experimenting a lot editing wise. And I think that's something, that kind of transition you could find into these kind of experimental movies.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to recreate not only through the costumes and through the time frame of the movie, but also through the editing. They're trying to recapture the editing style of that period, because they want, it's almost the Chainsaw Massacre. You know? And so, yeah, sorry, going back to what you were saying. Yeah, I don't really recall that scene, so I can't really speak for it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's very time and place type of the style of, obviously the film is set in the 70s, which also, you know, there's homage. It's an homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one, without it being a slasher Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But yeah, also then with this other montage that I'm trying to describe, maybe very poorly, is that it kind of takes that style and kind of twists it, and that this is more of like the style of it is a little bit more fresh than you would see, where it's like, I think that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a very simple movie in the way that it's edited comparatively. But regardless, it's a fun movie, and I recommend seeing it.
And it's very, very well shot and very well acted.
Yeah.
And the director, Ty West, is like, I think it's I'm not sure it's his first horror movie. I think he'd done some in the past, but he's getting some traction as a director. He's starting to get like well known. Mm-hmm. And he directed another horror movie that just got released that is called Pearl.
Yep.
And it's with the same main actress.
It's in the same universe, actually. So
it's in the same universe. I didn't know
it's like a prequel, actually, to X.
All right. Okay.
And then he's actually working on another one, which will be after the
So it's going to be a trilogy.
Yeah, it's going to be a trilogy.
That character.
Correct.
If I may, a scene that I really like, the editing off, and you can argue that it's more of a thriller than a horror, but I just love the scene with Judy Foster from The Silence of the Lamb, when she's in the cellar and it's dark all around, and she's just like walking in the dark, and you can see the point of view of the of the
with the night vision,
the night vision, exactly. And like the tension in that film, and like that, what I like about the scene is how deliberately they postpone that scare moment, right? And they play on the expectations the audience has. So I love this scene. I love this scene. Like, seriously.
There's actually a very nice little editing anecdote about that movie. I don't know if you recall, but near the end, the scene you're talking about, like the FBI is looking for Clarice, and they had a tip. And so they go to the house, and you have like intercutting her in the house about to figuring out that he's the killer, and they're coming to help her. And so, and they're arriving, and they just bust the door open, and you think, oh, she's saved now. You find that out that it's actually the wrong house. Yeah. Like they really played, they intercutted the way you think it's the same house, but they got the wrong house. And the editor was saying, actually, everybody's congratulating me, because I think it was one of the first time that kind of misdirect was in a movie, because then it was used a lot after that. But he said, the first time I cut that, I have to be honest, I didn't do that. They just went to the wrong house, and I didn't do the intercutting, so you didn't think they were in the right house. We were just and just the idea went through editing, and it's just a brilliant idea, brilliant editing. But it was not its first instinct.
By the way, misdirection in horror editing is big, right? Because like that's what you want to do. Like you want to misdirect people.
Exactly.
Even with sound effects.
Yeah,
like,
and
you want to do this stuff.
Yeah, and especially in thriller, you want to play on that. Like, I mean, in every kind of movie, you want to play on people's expectations. You want to surprise them, because they're like audiences are used to the way we tell stories, and they're even like they're expecting them to try and change up the formula. And so they're really like audiences are really smart. So it's really hard to surprise them. And that was a way at the time to surprise them, but that wouldn't be surprising anymore. When I see stuff like that, I'm thinking, oh yeah, they're not in the same house or things like that.
That's
and
true.
that happened very recently when I was watching something. And so, yeah, so I'm really, and there's a movie that just got released on HBO Max and that a lot of people were talking on the internet on, the movie is called Barbarian.
Yeah, I watched that last night.
And you watched it last night?
Really?
And it's supposed to be like completely, you should be completely unable to tell what's going to be happening in the next scene.
Yeah.
And every next scene, because you really don't know where the movie's going. And that's the kind of movie I'm really excited to watch, because I'm sometimes you're so bored because like it's always the same formula for every genre, every film. And then getting like something you don't know what's going to happen and it still makes sense. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, Barbarian's really good. Recommend that.
Yeah, we almost interviewed the editor of Barbarian, but they...
Oh, what happened? Why didn't you?
He heard about our knowledge that we were going to be expressing in this episode and was like, F that, I'm out of here. If you want to leave us a voice message, in the description, there's a SpeakPipe link. And then also we have an email. And then also you can reach out us. You can follow us on Instagram at Cut to Reveal. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully we can have Erwann on again to do more of the game. And hopefully in the next season, we'll also play the game more. Yeah, more trivia with other editors and other guests. So until next time.
Until next time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
If you like what you've heard, please rate, review, or subscribe on whatever platform you've listened to this on.
Your reviews help other editors to discover the show, and tell your friends.
Also, if you have any questions or comments, leave us a message at SpeakPipe. There's a link in the description, or email us at podcast@cuttothepoint.com.